عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أشرق البدر علينا فاختفت منه البدور مثل حسنك ما رأينا قد يا وجه السرور صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
There's Tanisha as well as Jana and Khadija, right? Please type who will be the first, second, and third speaker, as well as the one who will be giving the reply speech. Judges, there's... I believe Sister Camellia is not yet here. Is that right? Sister Camellia, are you here? I believe that's a no. Powerpuff Girls, can you type in who's the first, second, and third speakers? As well as the one who will be giving the reply speech. Can you hear me? If yes, can I get a reply? All right. Just a moment. We'll begin the match sharp at 10, right? Is Judge Christina, I'm sorry, not Christina, Camellia not here? Still not here, is it? Yes, let's make sure there's supposed to be 3 judges. So. Question as well to the fellow debaters. Are you guys having any technical difficulties in which you cannot open your camera? All good, all right.
Wait a minute, is this gonna be on YouTube?
Yes, so please be
Oh,
respectful.
God.
Reminder to all debaters.
Tutup kamera cepat.
Tutup kamera, tutup kamera.
Oh my god.
Tutup kamera.
Saya Ahmad bin Syarizal.
Saya Nirmala.
Why did they give the 2 Indians to speak about planets?
أنت شمس أنت بدر أنت نور فوق نوري أنت إكسير وغالي أنت مصباح الصدور صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم يا حبيبي يا محمد يا عروس الخافقين يا مؤيد يا ممجد يا إمام القبلتين صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم 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 طلع البدر علينا من ثنية الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داعي صلى الله على محمد
Oh yeah, I was just about to ask about the timer. Yeah, previously
Yeah,
in the previous debates, the timer didn't work.
you
The
can hear
bell.
the bell?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
nice. Hold on. Why is the not here?
I was just about to ask about the timer. Yeah, previously.
Yeah. This one is it, right? That's not good lah. Okay lah yang ini tadi. Sekejap.
Hazim, Aiman Mujad asked if you can like call Ragat to be like a judge. She's not picking up from Aiman's side lah.
Maybe she thinks she'll pick up from my side. Hold on. How many judges we need for this round?
Oh,
Three.
sekejap.
Ask
How
the
many
chat.
judges for this round?
We need 3, right?
Yeah, there's supposed to be 3 judges, and Sister Camellia is not present right now.
Yes.
I-
Two at
Oh
the
wait,
moment.
is Sister Camellia present? Who is Nai? Is that Sister Camellia?
No,
Are you here?
Yeah.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?
no, I'm not a judge here. I just came to watch.
Oh, I see.
Naima.
I'm sorry?
Are you in her blog?
No, I'm not.
Try and call Raga and see. I'll try and I'm gonna text Aiman and know who are the other judges.
Ragad is
Okay.
also missing.
Raga is also missing. Imas, yeah, Imas is here. Imas, do you know who the other room judges are?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Arwa, Latifba, and Ragad.
Is Hanafi free?
No, I don't think so. Today is wait a minute.
No, there are up to Epido.
But
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Naima can judge, right?
No, I cannot judge. You're crazy.
You are
I'll tell
judging
does
you
you
what,
does anyone
give
know the
my
whereabouts
info.
of Sister Camellia right now?
No
Or
idea.
the substitute that can replace her?
Imas, is Baim free, you think?
That's the thing. I'm gonna check with Bayan.
Yeah, can you call Baim and see? Either Baim or yeah, either Baim or Munira, I guess. I'm not going to make the call because I don't want issues of biasness.
I'll do that.
So you make the call. Wait a minute. Naima, why are you not watching Nabil? Why are you watching me?
And what do you mean?
Watch Nabil lah. Why me?
Oh, I just picked a random room.
Damn it. I feel targeted now.
I didn't know who was in what room, so I just picked a random one. And I was like, okay, this works.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we'll try and give you a show, I guess.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm gonna think. How do I relate this to American culture?
Ew.
Don't worry, Azim. I already thought of that. I got an analogy coming.
Fantastic. Okay, Naima, American culture references coming. Imas, any word from Ragat or Baim? If not, I'll just give Munira a call and see if she's open.
No, it's done. Ainur will be replacing Ragad, and
Oh,
Nabila
Ainur's
will
coming
be,
in. Okay.
and Nabila will be replacing Camellia. Baim is
Okay.
not responding. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Wait, hold on. I thought we already have. Isn't Christina a judge?
Yeah, 3 judges.
Oh, so it's you, Christina, and Ainur.
No, it is Nabila. Ainur will be joining room 2.
Oh, eh. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Bye, Mas.
Good luck.
Man, I was going to insert Sri Lankan references.
So basically,
Wait.
they said that Sister Nabila will be
Yeah.
replacing Sister Christina, right?
Yeah.
Sister Camelia. Okay.
Is she in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sister Nabila. Oh, now she's in. All right.
Okay. Just waiting for Ainur now.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. I bid to all. With the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are gladly able to gather here today for CFS Raptors Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I thank all of you for joining us today, and I welcome each and every one of you warmly. My name is Anis, and I am your chairperson and timekeeper for today's debate. I would also like to introduce our very esteemed judges to all of you. First is Brother Imas, second is Sister Christina, and third is Sister Nabila. Now, before we begin the debate, I will briefly explain the rules. First, speeches should be 7 minutes in duration. Speakers exceeding this may be penalized but should never be substantially less than this. Second, a bell will be rung after every consecutive minute. After 6 minutes, the bell will be rung twice. After 7 minutes, the bell will be rung until the speaker stops delivering their speech. Third, POIs can only be offered after the expiration of 1 minute and may not be given after the expiration of 6 minutes. POIs may only be given to opposing team and should be generally not more than 15 seconds in duration. If the speaker exceeds the 15-second duration, I, the chairperson, may request the speaker to end the POI. After that, the duration of the reply speech will be 4 minutes. Speakers must use formal language, and inappropriate language is absolutely prohibited. Debate sessions will always start with the government's first speaker, which is the Prime Minister. Second is the opposition leader, then Deputy Prime Minister, then Deputy Opposition Leader, then Government's Whip, and ends with the opposition's whip. For reply speeches, last but not least, both government and opposition sides are given 4 minutes of preparation for their reply speeches. Now that all the rules have been explained and cleared, we'll now start our first debate of the day, which is the semi-finals. Congratulations to all. The motion before the House this day is that this House believes that admission in all programs of UiTM should be strictly Bumiputera. I'm sorry, I'll repeat the motion again. This House believes that admission in all programs of UiTM should be strictly for Bumiputera only. Now that the motion has already been cleared, the government team consists of the government team, which is Yin and Yang, which consists of Haziq as the first speaker from CFS campus, Hazim as the second speaker from CFS campus, and Ayman as the third speaker from CFS campus. The reply speech will be delivered by Hazim. The opposition team is Powerpuff Girls. The opposition team in this debate are Ija as the first speaker from CFS campus, Tanisha as the second speaker from Kuantan campus, and Zanna as the third speaker from CFS campus. The reply speech will be delivered by Ija. Just a reminder before we start the debate, please be respectful when giving your speeches. So, without further ado, it is with great pleasure that we welcome our first speaker, Haziq, from the government team to open the floor of the debate. Haziq, whenever you're ready, I'll begin the timer.
Alright, first of all, I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, Hazim, your mic not muted lah.
Sorry.
Alright. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The motion before the House today, as mentioned by the Chair, this House believes that admission in all programs of UiTM should be strictly for Bumiputera only. We on side government strongly support this for a few reasons that we're going to highlight. But before that, let me get into the definitions of the key terms in the motion, right? So first of all, what does Bumiputera mean, right? So I think it's very essential for us to understand what this means for us to go on with this debate. So Bumiputera is referring to specifically in the Malaysian context, Malay orang asli Sabah Sarawakians, right? So these are the people who we are trying to protect on side government, right? Because these underprivileged people who need something to back them up, right? Okay, so these are the natives of Malaysia. That is why we called it Tanah Melayu at the time, right? So these are the owners, the original owners of the land. Okay, so that is what Bumiputera is. What Bumiputera isn't, or what non-Bumiputera is the other races in Malaysia, such as Indians, Chinese, and whatnot. Okay. So now you need to understand the Malaysian context. It is actually inside the constitution that Bumiputeras have special rights, right? It is protected by the Sultanate and whatnot, right? It is ingrained in the constitution that they need these special rights. Why does this exist? Because they were the majority, or they're the majority of the country, and they are the owners of the land, right? And this was what was agreed upon in the creation of Malaysia and the independence of Malaysia itself, that Bumiputras were supposed to have these special rights. Okay, so hopefully everyone's understood on what we mean by Bumiputera. So now what we are debating today, the info slide did mention about the current status of UiTM and how they temporarily open to non-Bumis and that cause uprisings in the MPPs. That is not what we're fighting against. We agree that a temporary opening, let's say like if there's a lack of spaces for students, then a temporary opening is okay. But the motion states that this House believes that admission in all programs of UiTM should strictly be for Bumiputera only. So what we are against is changing the foundational groundwork of UiTM, which only allows Bumiputeras in. All right, and suddenly allowing all non-Bumis to come into UiTM, right? So for all of their programs, regardless of what program it is, right? Foundation level or degree level or master's level, all right? So now, why is this important that we keep this only to Bumiputras, right? This, I'll get into my argumentation. For two main reasons. I'm going to elaborate on why it's against the values of UiTM itself. So we need to understand why UiTM was built, what UiTM is built for, and what it represents. And the second reason is what would happen in the case that they open it to all non-Bumis, right? That will be elaborated more by my second speaker. So now, first of all, let's get into a characterization of what UiTM is. What does UiTM stand for? What are the foundational values of UiTM? And why opening the admissions to all the programs of UiTM through UPU is against the core values of UiTM itself. So UiTM stands for University Technology MARA. MARA meaning Majlis Amanah Rakyat. MARA is an institution built to protect the rights and the special privileges of the underprivileged Malays, right? So these Orang Aslis, these Sabahans, these Sarawakians, right? These people who go to school on boats, these people who are strict by poverty, right? And they need some way to get out and climb out of this hole, right? So we are catering, MARA was built to cater to these type of people, okay? So UiTM gets funding from MARA, right? So this funding is meant for the Bumis. So you can imagine that it would be quite unsatisfactory for funding that was meant for Bumiputera people to go to non-Bumis, right? Because this is what will happen if you open the admission to non-Bumis, right? Funding that was meant for Bumiputera people be sent to non-Bumis. How would people feel? How would the people who are funding this feel about this, right? That's like paying money for like a snake preservation thing and then the money goes to cats, right? That's like MIC, Majlis Malaysian Indian Committee, I think that's what, but basically an Indian committee having a Chinese person as its leadership, right? UiTM was built for the Bumiputras, especially for the Bumiputras. Although opposition might say, oh, what about the Indians? What about the Chinese? You need to understand in status quo, there are many other options for the Indians and the Chinese and the non-Bumis, right? UM has recently opened its foundational programs for the non-Bumis. And many other universities such as UPM, you can take the ASPER program, you can take UKM as well. There are many other options. So their argument that might come up that, oh, what about the non-Bumis is completely invalid. UiTM was built foundationally for the Bumis, and therefore it should stick for the Bumis. I'll give you a simple example, right? It's like saying the Powerpuff Girls gets Buttercup gets replaced by a guy named Brady, right? How would you feel about that, right? So same thing for UiTM, right? It's built for the Malays, it's built for the Bumis, and then you give it to non-Bumis. How does that make sense? It makes zero sense logically, all right? Okay. So then basically our burden of proof is we just have to say that we create a safe space for underprivileged Bumis does not affect the non-Bumis severely, their opportunities to study and whatnot. And we are protecting these people, these Bumis who are underprivileged and need help getting the education that they need. Because you need to understand, panel, right? Where are these Bumis coming from? They're underprivileged orang aslis. We're talking about people who are taking boats to school. We're talking about people who need to cross rivers and things like that to go to school. The majority of underprivileged people in Malaysia are the Malays, right? You don't hear about some Chinese kid going to school on a boat, right? Although, yes, we concede that maybe there is a minority that do have to do this in the Chinese and non-Bumi group, right? But mostly, majority is the Bumis, right? And we want to protect on-site government, the Bumis, right? Okay. So hopefully from that, you'll understand that why opening it to non-Bumis is against UiTM's core values, because UiTM was built on this. It's University Technology Mara. So it makes no sense to open it to non-Bumis. And another point is it's against the constitution, right? I mentioned that the idea of special privileges in Bumiputera is written in the constitution itself, special rights provided to Malays, right? This is why Mara exists, to give funding to these type of people. So this is why UiTM was actually built off of these special privileges given to the Bumiputeras under the constitution. So that's why we on-site government find it really unreasonable to open it to non-Bumis, because in the core essence of UiTM is for the Bumis. Why would you open it to non-Bumis? With that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you to Haziq for opening the floor of the debate. Now, please welcome the first speaker of the opposition, Ija, to open the case for their side. Ija, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, whenever you're ready, I'll begin the timer.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Members of the floor, on the side of opposition today, we believe that everyone has the right to education, and regardless of their race, regardless if they're Indian, Chinese, Bumiputera, non-Bumiputera, everyone deserves the right to education. So first things first, as the opposition leader today, I will rebut the arguments given by the Prime Minister, and we will characterize the motion from our side and then give my own argument under the headlines of everyone has the right to education. While my second speaker will talk about how the overflowing of non-Bumiputera is actually not a problem. Right. So now let's move on to the rebuttals first. All right. Now let's move on to the rebuttals first. Right. So the Prime Minister's main argument was just talking about how making UiTM specifically only for Bumiputera is the foundation values of the UiTM itself. And we cannot really argue with that because that is a fact. That is something that is actually not really arguable. But then again, he have been stating about how Mara is to protect the privileges of underprivileged Malays. And we on the opposition side, we would like to counter this by saying that we can see in MRSM, which is also under Mara, there are opening admissions for non-Bumis. There are non-Bumiputera students in MRSM itself. So we want to ask the government side, why can't your UiTM do the same? Why can't your UiTM do the same? If MRSM can do it, why can't your UiTM? All right. So he also stated that since we would not let Bumiputera enter the UiTM, then they can enter other universities as well. But then again, how bold are you to assume that all Bumiputeras are privileged enough to go into other universities? All right. So I think that's all for the rebuttals. Now let's move on to the characterization of the motion from our side and then move on to my argument. All right. So first things first, as the leader of opposition today, I would like to agree with all the definitions given by the Prime Minister just now. All right. So let's move on to the characterization. All right. So first things first, we on the opposition side today, we believe that we want to fight the admissions to not be strictly for Bumiputera only. And if you want to say that, oh, what if the admissions of non-Bumiputera is too much that until the Malays cannot have their deserved education? But then again, members of the floor, we have quotas. We have quotas for this non-Bumiputera, which is a limitation for them to admit into the university itself. So we don't have to worry about the overflooding or overpopulation of non-Bumiputeras in the university itself because we have quota, and these quotas are already set to let the privileged Malays enter the university itself. And this also supports the narrative that UiTM is already protecting the privileges of Malays itself. So why can't they just let these Malays, these Bumiputera, share a tiny bit of their privilege to the non-Bumiputeras, even if the non-Bumiputeras are just a little bit of them going into the university itself. And we believe that with the government trying to propose this motion, with the government trying to push this motion, we believe that the government is depriving the non-Bumiputera of their right to education. To us, it seems that the government is pushing the narrative that the Bumiputera wants to push this non-Bumiputera out of the country. Because first, if we were to accept this motion, it is like some baby steps, some small steps into something worse, like race segregation, or maybe worse, something like apartheid. We don't know. We don't know what the future holds. So we wanted to prevent this thing by just letting the non-Bumiputeras getting into the UiTM, because we believe that even if they do enter the UiTM itself, it does not affect the privileges that is provided by the UiTM to protect the Bumiputera itself. Yes, sir.
PI, my
Yeah.
first speaker stated twice that there are other options that were from government such as UPM, UN, and ASPER. So it's not really for all government universities, just UiTM. So we don't really deprive non-Bumi of education.
Mm-hmm. All right, but still, that is just like that's just like denying the non-Bumiputeras to enter the UiTM itself, because every universities have different amounts of fees that they have to pay and such. But so why can't we just let the non-Bumiputeras enter UiTM itself? I hope that answers your answer. And then we would like to push. We would like to moving on to. All right. So back to my argument. Yeah, we believe that with the government wanting to propose this motion, we believe that the government is pushing the narrative that this Bumiputera wants to push the non-Bumiputera out of the country, and it will lead to more severe cases in the long run in the future. All right, so now I will talk about how we on the opposition side today, we believe that everyone has the right to education. So we can see that with the government proposing the motion, they are trying so hard to protect the Bumiputera's privilege by not letting the non-Bumiputera enter UiTM, whose values is to protect the privileges of the Bumiputera itself. But we believe that with the government proposing this, we can see that they're trying so hard to protect the Bumiputera, but they're indirectly repeating what the white people what the white people did to the black people in the past. Because if we are so scared to share some of the privilege of the Bumiputera to the non-Bumiputera, it is like a small step to something worse, which can be race segregation. We believe that, and we can see that the government is actually very afraid of making these Malaysians, of making these Bumiputeras losing their privilege of getting into UiTM. But then again, we believe that even if we let these non-Bumiputeras enter UiTM, the Malays will not lose the privilege at all. Because then again, we have other means of not letting the non-Bumiputera overflood this UiTM, which with quotas and such. And we believe that And before I end my speech, I would like to state the worst case and the best case in our side. Okay. So first things first, the worst case scenario happening in our world is that the Bumiputera is going to share a bit of the privilege with the non-Bumiputera, a tiny bit of privilege, members of the floor. And then the best case scenario would be that everyone gets their right to the education regardless of race, and it makes the non-Bumiputras feel welcome and not making it like the Bumiputras are trying to push them out of this country. And before I end my speech, I would like to reaffirm our stance, which is this House believes that admission in all programs of UiTM should not be strictly for Bumiputera only. With our stance, we don't want the Bumiputras to implement the white supremacy 2.0. With that, I've never been more proud to oppose. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank Ija for their speech just now, and now I'll call upon the second speaker of the government team, Hazim, to continue the debate for their side. When you're ready, Hazim, I'll begin the timer.
Hello, everybody can hear me, right? Clearly? Or is it too soft?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't understand that the moment opposition side thinks of this whole debate as another white versus black scenario in America and does not take into account that the non-Burmese are afforded so many other privileges outside of UiTM, they lose this debate. Once again, understand that government side is not trying to defend what happened to the controversy and the protest. We are defending the principle that the moment you open all admissions into UiTM for all non-Burmese as well, even with the quota system, you inherently will hurt the privileges of the underprivileged Malays, which are the ones we want to protect. Generally, if we can prove to you that we can protect the Malays and the underprivileged Malays or the Bumiputras under our side and not mess with the rights awarded to the non-Burmese, we should win this debate, right? So first, I'd like to thank the opposition side with agreeing with us that, hey, UiTM is only for the Burmese. Yes, it is. Principally, it was founded only for them because it is needed and is enshrined in the Constitution, right? Understand, right, panel? This comes from many, many years from the institution of Malaysia itself, when people were segregated, when the races were segregated, because the Malays were brought up and they were grown up in these far-off communities, in these Orang Asli kampongs, in these native villages. The Indians and the Chinese were brought up in the towns, in the plantations, everything. They have the privileges to go and seek such benefits. The Malays or the underprivileged Orang Aslis or the natives in Sabah and Sarawak, example, do not have such privileges. UiTM is there to grant them such privileges. Hence why we need to defend these privileges all the way to the end. We take opposition side argument, right? They're telling us that we are actually negating the rights of the non-Burmese, right? Understand two things. Firstly, we've already told you that non-Burmese have a multitude of other universities they can go to, right? There's so many other universities, UKM, better universities, in fact, other than UiTM, which non-Burmese can actually go to, That is not a disruption of their rights to education. We are actually promoting better rights of education for the non-privileged Bumiputras who actually cannot get into these other universities that the non-Burmese can get to. That's what we defend, right? Secondly, understand that the very value when you try and put in quota systems, right? It inherently is a flawed mechanism. That is the whole side of opposition's argument. They say, oh, let's just include quota system. Let's have some kind of privileges for the Burmese. Yeah, let's defend Burmese privileges, but let's take it away a little bit, right? Here's what's wrong with the quota system. Three things. When you insinuate a quota system, you inherently create this narrative that, hey, the privileges of the Bumiputras are not that strong. We can slowly take it down a notch. It is the start of breaking down of the Bumiputra privilege. Secondly, understand that when the quota system is initiated, somebody gets cut. somebody is not allowed to enter that university. So now I tell opposition side, right, with all these underprivileged Malays, with this far off natives who stay deep in the jungles, right? Those people who actually have to walk a kilometer to school, those people who actually have to take a boat through rivers, multiple rivers, across bridges, through jungle to school. This poor girl, right? This Jamima, who actually has to walk through these bridges and rivers, right? Are you going to tell her one day that she cannot enter UiTM because, oh, this straight A student from the Indian community took your place? Are you going to tell her that after she's tried as best she can in the situation she's given? Are you going to tell her that, oh, the quota system is in place, your place is taken by a non-Bumi? Are you willing to tell that particular victim that, opposition side? That is the whole flaw with your argument. We are not trying to negate the rights of these non-Bumis. We are just saying that there are bigger victims to protect under government side, which is these underprivileged Bumiputras, which is the whole reason UiTM was founded in the first place, to actually give these people a chance at their futures and not have them sidelined to the sides. Now, coming into my argument, right, panel, my argument is very simple. Haziq has already told you a positive case as a
Your eye,
principal
please.
argument as to, hold on, I'll take you later, as to why exactly UiTM is important for the Bumiputras and why it's good for the Bumiputras. It creates this ability for the non-Bumis now to actually mix around and have, for the Bumis actually, sorry, to have a place for them to actually become better people. When you start opening it, here's why it becomes bad, right? It creates a negative reaction in what becomes the Malays. Understand the preamble here is that even in the younger generation, there is this nationalistic identity that the younger generation of Bumiputras want to keep, whereas we have the privilege. We should not be giving this privilege to the non-Bumiputras. So now, the moment you start opening up these privileges to other non-Bumiputras, you inherently create this racial or this tension between the Malays and Bumiputras, because the Malays or the Bumiputras now feel that, hey, we are actually getting our rights taken away. This now creates entrenched views in the Bumiputra community by thinking that, oh, they're trying to encroach upon our privileges towards the non-Bumiputras. The special rights awarded to these Bumiputras are now violated through the constitution, which is supposed to protect them. And now, thirdly, understand that the funding now to UiTM, especially since it is funded by these nationalistic Bumiputra people who try and support the Bumiputra committee, is a high chance of getting cut because they're trying to support the Bumiputras. These three things are going to happen regardless. And this is what we're trying to stop. But before I move on to exactly why it's important, I'll take that PO.
Okay, so on your side, you are trying to protect the privilege of these underprivileged people, right? But how do you ensure the Jamimah girl are going to get scholarship to actually pay the tuition itself? Because these underprivileged people usually don't get that.
Okay, thank you. Here's the problem. Mara gives scholarships to the underprivileged. There's a whole quota system in UiTM ingrained in, hey, you are a person from a rural village, you get that scholarship. The problem is, if they cannot get admission into the university, they don't get that scholarship in the first place. So by allowing the Bumiputras to actually have a larger majority in UiTM, or actually the whole majority in UiTM, you get the best chance of these people, this Jamima person, to actually enter into the university and get the scholarship she deserves, and actually gives her a chance at her future, right? Because here's the thing, there is no proper equilibrium of opportunities when you're trying to cater to people only based on the academic achievements. We are trying to cater to people for their social things. We are trying to cater to the people who cannot necessarily afford themselves in the university, who do not show themselves academically, but the moment they actually enter the university, they have the opportunity, equal opportunity, in fact, to show that even in the universities, they do better. For all those reasons, side with government who supports the underprivileged Bumiputras. Thank you.
Thank you, Hazim. Now I call upon the second speaker of the opposition, Tanisha, to continue the case for their side. Tanisha, are you present?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. On your mark, I will begin the timer.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Members of the floor, we oppose that admission in all programs of UiTM to be for Bumiputera only. The other side have been saying that, oh, the values of UiTM is to protect of underprivileged Malays. Okay, so first I will rebut all the arguments from the government side, and I will provide my own arguments. So the values of UiTM, protect of underprivileged minorities. Look how many rich people are in UiTM, going to school with Rolls Royce and wearing branded stuff. And look, how about the underprivileged Malays? And they're not even affected of that. And this is also a hypocrite because it's hypocrite because for postgraduate programs in UiTM, they allow international students. Why would you not let your own people, Malaysians, to enter um their own university? Instead, you let these foreigners enter the UiTM when you say, oh, it's to protect underprivileged Malays, but you allow international students. So it doesn't make sense. And why this won't affect the Bumiputera privilege is because, as I said, is as the speaker said that there is quotas, and there are other Bumiputera rights such as government contract, housing, and stuff like that. Education is a basic right, and every race is allowed to have it. And some programs in UiTM, for example, like cardio thoracic is only in UiTM. So it's not fair, to not allow this non-Bumiputera to enter. And my argument is like these changes are needed because in order to make Malaysia a developing country, we cannot have this racial segregation. This is like a step. This is like a small step to racial segregation. Like, okay, let's say in America, they say, oh, we only want white people in this school. That's what they're doing. Like UiTM few years ago and like also now, like with the issue now, they're protesting, oh, we only want Bumiputera. And how is Malaysia gonna be a developed country if we keep on going with this like perception? Like changes are needed for the betterment of the country, and non-Bumis will also be allowed to contribute to the country because some like programs only in UiTM. So like to say that it's to protect of underprivileged Malays, the rights of underprivileged Malays will not be affected because look how many rich people are in UiTM and look how the international students are in UiTM. And their rights are just fine. So this is just purely racism if they say, oh, our rights are taken away because non-Bumis are allowed in. If the Bumis they protest and they feel their rights are taken away. There are so many rights of Bumiputras out there, and education is a basic right, and there's still quotas and stuff like that. And from non-Bumis, there's also low-income like families. Like you can't assume that all Bumis are rich and they have money. Like they're like forced to go to private unis because of this quota, and they have to work hard, in order to get a placement in a local university. They can't just go like overseas, like if they don't have money, right? So in UiTM, the fees are much lower. So this could benefit like so many underprivileged non-Bumis as well, and they can contribute to the country better. And what's wrong with changing? What's wrong with changes if it could make the country better? Like as a Malaysian, like you should actually help each other. Yes, UI.
You do realize that the fees lower in UiTM is because it is subsidized by the government because of its Bumiputera status. The moment you make UiTM non-Bumiputera, it takes away the fee subsidies and makes it more expensive, right?
Yeah, but it is still a local university and it's much cheaper than like private unis or other local universities out there. So hope that answers your question. So yeah, it won't be affected anyways, this underprivileged Malays, because when I see UiTM, the students in UiTM, most of them are rich anyways. They're not even like, they don't go to like the school like by boat or whatever. Like it's like so letting Bumis in my opinion is it won't affect them. And this is just like if you, for example, like the protest like about the cardiothoracic, yes, that is like just racism, honestly, and it shouldn't be allowed. And then you would say, oh, this is because it's in the constitution, but this is like a not right thing to do. And what's wrong with letting Bumiputras in with quotas like other unis out there. So
Yeah,
yes.
you ask what's wrong with letting other non-Bumiputras in like other unis. It's because UiTM is not like other unis. I mentioned in my first speech, it is core value is for the Bumis. That's why it's not
But
like other.
why are there international students in UiTM? Why are there international students in UiTM? You should like prioritize your own people first, the Malaysians first. If you wanna like make it for underprivileged Malays only, then you shouldn't let international students. You shouldn't let rich people in. You should let make it as a uni that is only for underprivileged Malays. So UiTM is basically a hypocrite, and it is not following their own values. So what's wrong with non-Bumis letting non-Bumis in? So I would just summarize my own points again. So firstly, the underprivileged Malays, the right of underprivileged Malays will not be affected because of the other things that like the rich people and the international students. And thing is, what's wrong with changes? Changes are needed. It's for the betterment of the country. And that's and that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanisha, for your speeches now. As the debate proceeds, things are getting more and more heated. Now, without further ado, but before that, allow me to remind all debaters, as the debate proceeds, please remain respectful in your speeches. Now, let's welcome the third speaker of the government, Iium, to the floor.
Assalamualaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, and on your cue, Iium, I will begin the time.
Hold on, make sure I look good on the cameras. It's live, bro. Okay. So, Assalamualaikum. I'm Iium. I am the government's whip. And yeah, I'll be debunking a lot of points made by the opposition, which were a lot. So the first point made by the opposition was that everyone has a right to education, made by the first speaker. I believe in our case, we did not say no, only Bumis have right to educations. Of course, everyone has a right to education. But the thing that opposition failed to understand is that the difference between other unis and UiTM is that UiTM is University Technology Mara. What's Mara? Majlis Amanah Rakyat. What's Majlis Amanah Rakyat for? To protect the special rights for the Malays, the Bumis. Why? Because they're the natives. Yes, you can say, oh, everyone has a right to education. Yes, they can go to any other local university other than UiTM. Like my first speaker, like my second speaker said, there are other options, maybe even better options, UPM, ASPER, and they have other privileges. Just not UiTM because this is University Technology Mara. This is specially made for the Bumis, by the Bumis, by the people, for the people. Okay. And then one of the points made by the opposition is that we're depriving non-Bumi of education. Again, this is repeating with the first thing, which is everyone has a right to education. They kept repeating the same thing, so I have to explain it the same way. But yeah, depriving non-Bumi of education. No, they have other options. Like I said, UPM, ASPER. You can go to any other university. And then if you say, oh, UiTM is cheap, yeah, because UiTM has a bonus because of Mara, because people funded from the Mara funding. Why? By the government. Why? For the Bumis. So if you take away the Mara funding, the UiTM is still expensive. And then the second speaker told us, oh yeah, but it's still a local university. Yes, but then that's for any other local university. So why don't you go to the other universities other than UiTM? UiTM is just for Bumis. Always has been and will always be. So yeah, again, it's repeating with the first point, so I don't really get it. And then one of the points made by the second speaker, I think, was that why do we let foreigners and international students get into UiTM? Wouldn't this disturb the Bumi's rights? Then again, you forgot that the foreigners are exchange students. So it's not that we do not, it's not that we don't think about it. It's just when you exchange students, our Bumi get to those countries while their students come to us. That's what the exchange student is. Basically, we swap our students. So that's even bigger of an opportunity for these Bumiputera students to get the proper education, better education for themselves. So the foreigner point really doesn't make sense. It's very surface. So yeah. Um, and then you talk about, oh,
Bye.
how many rich? I'm not finished. So wait. Uh, and then you talk about, oh, how many rich Bumis are in UiTM. But then of course you see the rich Bumis. You won't see a poor Bumi riding around in a Rolls Royce drop top. Oh yeah, I'm not rich. Of course you see the gleaming, shining rich people. You don't see the normal peoples. So yeah, of course. But then again, they're still Bumi. And if you don't let the rich Bumi get into the UiTM, then the rich non-Bumis are getting into the UiTM. And then you need to understand again, do you do you do you remember how many people are against the temporary induction of the non-Bumis to the UiTM? That even the temporary thing caused so much uproar that it caused a riot within the UiTM community by itself. And again, the MPP itself are the ones are against it. The students are against it. Everyone else are against it. The students are against it. So imagine if you made this mandatory, permanent, it's gonna cause an uproar, even bigger uproar, like maybe the 13th of May or something, because everyone is upset. Oh, why don't you do this? Oh yeah, you're upsetting us. No, 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 no. It's against the constitution. It's not that we're depriving the. It's not like we're depriving the non-Bumis of anything. It's just that we, as Bumis, have special rights. Imagine if you live in my house and you decided to sleep in my bedroom. No, I have my rights. I have special rights to sleep in my bedroom because it's my house. No matter how long we've been staying together, you sleep at your couch or something, and I sleep at my bedroom. It's not that we're depriving you of any comfort. It's just that it's my house. That's an example of how we think
Bye.
about it. Again, I'm not finished. Wait, maybe if I have time, I'll take it. It's not that we're depriving the non-Bumis. It's just that we as Bumis have rights. Again, the touch about the MARA again. MARA is Majlis Amanah Rakyat. So some people give the fundings, not just the government. Some people are blessed and generous enough to give fundings to the MARA. Why do they give the fundings to MARA? Is that they want to fund the Bumi Putra's education. So if you take away this and you take the fundings from all those people and you give it to the non-Bumis, what would the people who donated the money think? I give it to them so that they can improve our education, but they give it to other people. Let's say I have 5 ringgit, I give it to my friend here, tell him to buy food, and then suddenly he buys food for someone else. What would I think? I'm giving the money to you. Other people might not need the food. So again, it will cause an uproar even for the guys, people who are generous enough to donate the money. Um, Again, one of the points made by my first speaker is that with changes that were made, that the opposition side wanted to make, we are changing the foundational work of UiTM itself, of MARA itself, and it's against the federal constitution, which is to protect the special rights of the Bumiputras. So yeah, um, again, about the equal opportunities, I don't really agree with that because of by giving the poor people, underprivileged people opportunities to get into university, I think it is equal as rich people have bigger opportunities to get better education. And so with that, I would like to rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiman, for your speech. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least, I'd like to welcome Zenna, the third speaker from the opposition side, to the floor. Zenna, are you audible?
Okay. Sekejap
Whenever you're ready, I will begin the timer. I hope I'll say everything. Wait, tell me to flip this thing, okay? Okay. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So the government side have been talking about how they want to protect the privilege of this the right of these underprivileged Bumiputras. But then what they failed to realize is that those rights that they are trying to protect for these underprivileged people are actually enjoyed by those privileged people instead of these underprivileged people. Why does that happen? Is because it's because these underprivileged people don't even have the privilege to enter the uni itself. Let me give you an example. Okay, so they also talk about how Mara is only for Bumiputras and are being funded by these Bumiputras so that Bumiputras can enjoy right? But then this for example MRSM, which is something that is also under Mara right now, they like my first speaker has stated, they also have now opened a quotas for non-Bumiputras to be in MRSM also. So we see that there is a step that are being taken for by MRSM. So we don't see why UiTM cannot take these kind of steps also. And even in MRSM, most people who are in MRSM are rich kids, and so is UiTM. Why? Because they these things use the same concepts. They at first they give these offers for this non-privileged, underprivileged people. But then these underprivileged people don't even have the privilege to enter the uni itself, because you don't only have to pay for the tuitions, you have to pay for your own stays, your own expenses there. And these underprivileged people don't even have the money to do that at the first place, which cause these people to not being able to enjoy the privilege that they are trying to give to these underprivileged people. No, thank you. I'll take it that later. And also they talk about how students are against this, are even having protests for this temporary one. How if we do this may cost like another 13th May. Okay, so these people who are actually being in uproar are people who are racist. They don't even know what they are mad about. They're just mad because we are giving this thing to people who are not like them. Like a Malay guy would be like, hey, we're giving things to Indians and Chinese. This is not fair. This is Tanah Melayu. No, this is mine. Even though they don't even know why we are actually opening this, we are trying to save lives. We are trying to give people, we are trying to let people actually live. Because the reason why the cardiothoracic things are actually being opened is because someone is dying, because there's not enough people who can help, because there's not enough cardiothoracic surgeons at the first place. And we see that this is a big problem, and that in the future this kind of things may happen, because you have to understand that not all universities have the courses that that other people want to try. There are universities that have like cardiothoracic courses, but there are universities that don't. And we also see that we can give these people opportunities to choose where they want. Not everyone wants to be in UIA to take certain courses in UIA. They want to take law, but they want to take it in UM. So they have choices. They not because people see things differently. Like how people are in UIA's foundations because they want something because they want them to have a secure place in UIA. But there are people who don't want UIA's foundations because they want they still don't know what they are going to do with their lives. So we see that on our side we are trying to give people choices and opportunities. And why do non-Bumiputras cannot have this kind of opportunities also? Yes.
On the point of choices, that's like saying you're allowing a man to enter a feminist group.
What if they identify as a woman? Okay, so other than that, what they are trying to do, as we have been talking over and over again, that these things would not actually affect those underprivileged Malays, because even without that, the underprivileged Malays are still not being helped, because the problem is not about this. The problem is not about how the problem is not about how they are not being accepted to universities. The problem is that they don't even have the amount of money to get into the universities itself. So instead of you depriving these people of opportunities, you should have focused more on giving, on helping those people to actually
to actually have the amount of money to actually have the privilege to even enter a university itself, because even though the fees is low, the expenses of living in the of living somewhere is still high, because because you don't only have to pay for the tuition fees, you have to pay for other things also, like transportations, the place that you live in, your foods, and so on and so forth. Those things are very are very very high. Oh no, thank you. And you might say about how rich people would actually choose private universities rather than staying in UiTM. But then we also see that rich people are stingy, are really really stingy. They want to spend as little money as possible, but still as little money as possible, that they are willing to bribe people to bribe their way into UiTM instead of just paying private universities, because private universities cost like 58,000, while this UiTM things just cost like 16,000. They can just pay 10,000 and all their expenses will still be 26,000. So they have the brain to actually think about how much they are going to spend on this all these kind of things. Okay, now let's move on to my comparative. So what's happening on their work is that on their best case, yeah, sure, they are trying to protect these underprivileged people, underprivileged Bumiputras who have to go to school using boats and so on and so forth. But what they don't realize is that cable existed. People pace their way into these privileges that are supposed to be enjoyed by underprivileged people. They are the one who actually enjoying these privileges and not underprivileged Malays. That there are other ways for you to actually protect these underprivileged Malays instead of depriving people of their choices and opportunities. Because like I've said before, not all courses are being offered in every university. Every university have different kind of courses, and maybe UiTM is the only courses that have the only university that have the courses that they want to get into. And also we are given on our worst case, yeah, sure, we are actually giving a little tad bit of privileges to these non-Bumiputras who's been living in Malaysia for like 70 years. But what we are also giving to them is that we are giving opportunity to everyone, trying to cater to everyone's needs and trying to make everyone as happy as they can be with not enjoying everything. Okay, and with that, I raise my case. Thank you.
All right, with the end of Jannah's speech, now it's time for the preparation of the reply speeches. Dear debaters, you're given 4 minutes to prepare for your reply speeches. Please use your time wisely. All right, debater, the time has finally come for you to give your reply speeches. Starting first with the opposition. Please welcome the opposition summary speaker, Ija, to the floor.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. On your count, I will begin the timer.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Members of the floor, welcome to the reply speech session in which I, as the opposition leader today, will give insight to you on what was happening in the government world and what is happening in our opposition world. All right. So first things first, the government is proposing this motion with their arguments in which that the UiTM value is to protect the underprivileged Bumiputras. And this to protect these underprivileged Bumiputras, they want to not let any non-Bumiputras enter UiTM through all courses. But we on the opposition side, we believe that this initiative is not possible because as we can see right now, the privileges that are provided for the underprivileged Bumiputra are actually enjoyed by the kids who does not deserve the privilege at all. We can see that the rich kids are the one who gets into the UiTM, while there's such underprivileged people that you are trying so hard to protect doesn't even get to go into the university itself, as mentioned by my good speakers so many times before. So we can see that the government is actually failed to even go with their such with their mentioned UiTM value, which is to protect the underprivileged kids. Well, we can see that the kids who are not even underprivileged are enjoying the privilege in getting are enjoying the privilege in the UiTM, even if they are not underprivileged itself. And other than that, they also are confidently believing that they are already protecting the underprivileged Bumiputras by not letting the non-Bumiputras enter the UiTM itself. But we on the opposition side, we believe that letting the non-Bumiputras enter the UiTM will not actually affect the UiTM values itself, and it will not affect the privileges that Bumiputras are getting severely. Because like I said before, the amount of non-Bumiputras who are going to be able to enter UiTM itself will be like a very limited amount of people. So we believe that it will not affect the Bumiputras that they're trying so hard to protect severely. And we can see that even if they do believe that they protect the underprivileged, we as the opposition side, we believe that they do not really protect the underprivileged people, because we can see that the privileges provided in UiTM are actually enjoyed by the non-deserved people itself, which is the rich kids. And other than that, the government side also have been stating that when they open the cardiothoracic course to the non-Bumiputras, it was creating a tension among races. But we can see that this with them saying this, we on the opposition side believe that they are actually having this white supremacy mindset where they will not let this non-Bumiputra get the opportunity of getting their education simply because they don't want the non-Bumiputras to enter the UiTM itself. But we on the opposition side, we believe that even if they do let this non-Bumiputra enter the UiTM itself, it will not affect the Bumiputras severely. And we believe that them not letting the non-Bumiputras enter the UiTM itself is not really a good initiative, because because like I said many times before, the underprivileged people that they're trying to protect is actually not really effectively protected themselves, because we can see that the privileges are actually enjoyed by the non-deserved people itself. So we can see that the government side are actually living in a very in this peaceful world where they believe that only the Bumiputras are deserved to enter UiTM, and they're refusing to give opportunities to non-Bumiputera people because they just use the UiTM values as the main thing to not let this non-Bumiputera enter UiTM itself. And we believe that the non-UiTM we believe that non-Bumiputera entering UiTM will not affect the Bumiputeras in the list because of the reasons that are stated in the debate before. So with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ija, for your speech just now. Now, I'd like to welcome, last but definitely not least, the last speaker of the government, Hazim, to sum up for their team and the debate as a whole. Your line is not a bit clear. Can you come a bit forward to the front?
Over now.
It's not that clear.
This better?
Yes, that is better.
Okay.
When you begin, I'll start the timer.
Right. Panel, opposition side has made many assertions and many new materials coming in the web, especially reply when it comes to how the rich only dominate UiTM for some reason. There's bribery involved, there's cables involved, and how actually all the rights that we're trying to protect is actually enjoyed by the people who don't deserve it, right? So we'll accept, fine, let's take all those assertions. Understand, again, the debate falls within the realm of who actually protects these underprivileged students the best, as well as why exactly is this privilege afforded only to the Bumiputras. So let's go into some clashes, right? Let's talk about the right of education, because that's the huge thing that comes from opposition saying we deny right of education. What did they tell you? They told you that we refuse admissions to UiTM based on a racist policy, we are white supremacists, we are racist, and the right of education needs to be applied to everybody. We told you that other universities exist that doesn't have this system. There is a growing trend of other universities actually allowing non-Bumiputras to enter their foundational programs, which was not there before, thus making UiTM the only bastion to protect the Bumiputra rights enshrined within the constitution of the nation. Understand, for their argument of right education to be valid, you need to understand that the right has to be taken away across the whole board. That means the whole of Malaysia, there is no rights for the non-Bumiputras to actually enter university. This fails because everywhere else in Malaysia, the non-Bumis are allowed admissions without any issues. Only in UiTM are we doing this because two things. Firstly, we've already told you the foundational purposes and the principles of UiTM to protect the Bumiputras. Secondly, UiTM is founded on this principle so that funding can actually go into the university, making it cheaper for the Bumiputras itself. Without such privileges, without such only Bumiputra privileges, the funding would get cut and the prices of the fees would actually extend higher and higher. As well as thirdly, understand we're not actually racist in this. Who are the actual racist ones, right? We are trying to protect UiTM because it's not racist when it's a right enshrined into you. The Bumiputras are not racist because they're just fighting for their rights. The rights awarded into them when the country was founded, the rights in the constitution. It's not racist when you're fighting for your right to life against a black person, is it? When a black person is trying to kill you, fighting him off, that's not racism. That's trying to protect your right to life. The right of education is there, especially for the Bumiputras. That is what the whole uproar is. The opposition side has never tackled to you two things. They never tackle to you how the uproar is going to happen from the Bumiputras and how there'll be another issue of huge racial tensions. And secondly, they never tell you how they're going to protect the underprivileged students, right? So let's go into the second clash, right? Who actually enjoys the rights better and who protects the underprivileged better? We told you very simply, by initiating this huge bastion for only Bumiputras, sure, we'll take them on their best case, right? Let's say there's some rich people in UiTM, right? Understand that the moment you allow only Bumiputras to enter and the quota system to actually implement in UiTM, it allows exactly for these non-Bumis to actually enter the university, actually get the opportunities to gain the scholarship that they rightly deserve. Sure, there might be 5 or 6 or 7 rich non-Bumis because they are the only people you see. You see them because they drive around, they walk around, they have the luxury to do so. The Bumis who are actually being protected in UiTM are given the dorms. They sit in the dorms, they sit in the libraries, they sit in the special privileges awarded to them inside the campus that is awarded to them because of where they come from, because of what UiTM stands for, which is to protect the underprivileged Bumiputeras. We are not there to try and allow the non-Bumis now to come in and actually take advantage of the rights of the Bumiputera specifically just because we want equilibrium. We argue that actually it is a principal right to ensure that Bumiputras, even though they are underprivileged, should enjoy special treatment because that is what they have been afforded to and awarded to in the federal constitution. For those two clashes that we've won, vote for side government.
All right, and with that ends our final speech from the last speakers of this debate. Now, thank you to all speakers for a very stimulating and great debate. Give yourselves all a round of applause. Now, before we end this debate, it's important to note that this debate is a silent round. However, the announcement of the results as well as education from the judges are not given for this round. However, debaters are allowed to ask for feedback regarding the speeches, but no education in which concludes the final result may be given. Therefore, debaters, please take the floor. The debaters, please ask.
So do we ask for feedback now or after the results come out?
Now, right now, just the feedback, but no no education can be given, just feedback in case you have any particular questions you want to invoke.
I just think that it's better that we give the feedback after the announcements, right? So we can go
After
a bit
the
deeper.
announcements.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Then with the decision of the judges, I can not protest to that. So congratulations to all debaters and thank you to our dear judges for your time and cooperation. So with that, our session ends here. Please, all debaters as well as educators, join back to the general main room and wait for the break announcement. Thank you very much and congratulations to all.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow, UM better than UiTM, Azim. Better options, eh?
Better option.
Sorry, YouTube.
No, you must. I'll put everybody in a voice call and for you to give feedback once the results are in.
Okay,
See you, man.
that's fine. So are we discussing here or?
I'm not a part of this, so up to you guys. You can discuss in this main break room, but I'm pretty sure this is streamed, so it's better that you discuss